Hello everyone, and welcome to Wisdom.Works.Truth. If you're new to my channel, then I'm Wisdom Works, and this channel is all about current and strange events and stories happening across the world. So if you are curious and would love to stay in the loop, make sure you click the subscribe button and turn on the notifications by clicking the bell, because there are so many amazing stories waiting for you. For all my supporters, thank you for the love and support. Please keep all that love and support coming by leaving your thoughts in the comment section, giving this video a thumbs up, and sharing this video. When you think about substance abuse, most of us never think that it will happen to our family. Dr. Karen Melissa Jackson's sister wanted to share their story with the world in an effort to help others by making them aware. So I chose to present her story to you guys. But before I get started, let me just tell you, opioid addiction does not discriminate. It happens to the least and most of us. This story is of Dr. Karen Melissa Jackson. Born on October 3rd, 1964 in Houston, Texas, to Pastor Fred B. Basie Jr. and Fraulein Helen Basie. Karen graduated from Lamar High School in 1983 and continued her education at Texas Southern University. During Karen's time at TSU, she obtained a Bachelor of Education, Master of Education, Master of Counseling, and Doctorate of Education Administration. Karen was also a sister in the Delta Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. From all the pictures I saw, she loved her sorority, and they appeared to care about her. Karen wasn't a person on the street corners looking for drugs. She had a supportive husband to whom she had been married for 33 years. She was blessed with 2 daughters who loved her very much. She was a grandmother, and she loved her grandchildren. Her parents were still living, and her siblings loved her. She was very active and loved spending time with her family. Being the daughter of the pastor of Integrated Missionary Church, she was raised in the church. Karen's career started in the school system, from being a teacher to a counselor and eventually assistant principal at Key Middle School and then at Fawnville Middle School. But with all this perfect life, something terrible happened. I need to say this. There are many struggling with addictions, and they don't have a sign on their head, and they're not standing on the street corners. This struggle is real and sometimes undetectable until it's too late. After 20 years of service, Karen retired from HISD and started a new chapter of her life. Karen accepted her calling in the ministry as an evangelist and taught Bible study. She was actively involved in the praise dance ministry, choir, and ministers board. Honestly, we need to stop looking at others and thinking they have it all together, because we just don't know their story. Would you believe that Karen was an author? Well, she was. She wrote a book called Embarking on an Adventure with God, Finding Spiritual Fulfillment. To say many looked up to Karen is an understatement. She was the person you would least suspect to be addicted to opiates. I know I wouldn't expect the minister of my church who's ministering to me to be on opioids. But we are all human and no one is perfect. In my opinion, opioid addiction is a physiological addiction. Many of us have cravings, but when you have an addiction to food, alcohol, or drugs, they become your cravings. It all started when Karen was initially prescribed opiates for her knee and back pain. Her sister stated she believes that Karen wasn't able to get any more prescriptions from her doctor any longer. So she turned to the next best thing to get that fix. Meaning, she started reaching out to drug dealers. You might be thinking, how did a woman of her caliber find drug dealers? Well, maybe she found them, or maybe they found her. Honestly, this story opened my eyes. We have to pay attention to our loved ones. Karen's sister is a federal probation officer, and she deals with this kind of stuff all the time. But when it happened in her family, it caught her by surprise. As I mentioned, They are a very close-knit family. The sisters were best friends. If you saw Karen, you saw her sister. When confronted with this addiction, Karen was in denial, and she did a lot of deflecting. Karen pointed the finger at other things and never accepted responsibility. This was hard for her sister because Karen was such a strong human being, and she was her everything. Karen was her big sister, and she was always there for her. Honestly, it seems like she tried to come to everyone's rescue because she loved helping others. Karen's sister thought, like so many others out there, Karen could also beat this. But then COVID hit the country, followed by a complete lockdown. And during that time, more visible signs started appearing. I'm begging you all, please don't overlook these signs. Hearing this story might not warn you the way it should, but this is a real-life problem, and if ignored, it gets worse. Karen's sister didn't notice the signs until it was too late. She stated 6 months prior to her death, I had already lost her. I started going through grief counseling because I knew there was nothing else I could do. Karen was a very charismatic, very strong, a motivational speaker, a very powerful minister. She knew the Bible inside and out. But when Karen started to use Bible scripture to justify some of the things she had done, that's when Karen's sister realized that it wasn't the same Karen she knew. Karen didn't tolerate foolishness. She used to leave when people made silly mistakes, saying that they are doing it because they want to, and I'm not going to be a part of it. So when her addiction was exposed and Karen wasn't accepting responsibility, it was clear it might be too late. I'm thinking, now this is my opinion, and I'm no doctor, but she could have been experiencing some depression. You don't have to be crying and looking all sad all the time to be dealing with depression. Karen's sister did state that Karen was going through a lot, and feeling heavy and overwhelmed can lead to depression. I do need to say that Karen did go on substance abuse treatment once. Everything was going great, but then she relapsed. On April 27, 2022, Karen's sister received a phone call stating the paramedics were at the house and they couldn't resuscitate Karen. Karen's husband had come home after working his night job to find his wife dead. I can't imagine what it must be like for him to find his wife like this, knowing she's gone. According to her sister, there were pills there, and she would intensify the high by taking pills with wine. That's how Karen was found and how she died. She died in her home alone. Please listen. When you buy drugs from a drug dealer, you don't know what you're getting. All you know is what they tell you. When Karen's family received a copy of her death certificate, it listed fentanyl, alcohol, Xanax, and hydrocodone. The reason for her death is listed as substance abuse. Karen loved life and had so many reasons to live, but this addiction took over her life. This addiction doesn't care who you are and what you've achieved or accomplished. It can happen to anyone and any family. Don't let shame or pride stop you from talking to your loved ones who's struggling with addiction or depression. Karen's sister shared their hurtful experience to help others, so it won't be too late for them. I'm sharing their story to hopefully save lives. Prayers for the family always. If you can relate to this video, then don't forget to like and do share your thoughts in the comment section below. And please help us get the word out by sharing this video to help and inform people close to you. And if you want to know more about such stories, then please connect with me on Instagram and TikTok. Until next time, blessings and stay safe.